Hey students, welcome to yet another fun, exciting, enthralling YouTube video on using Fusion 360. So this is video number 3 in our introduction series. If you haven't watched the first couple, please go back and finish the file management and the additive shape before we jump into this one. This one we're going to model up the exact same shape that's on my screen, but we're going to do it using a subtractive method. Right, so again, we're referencing, oh, there goes my screen to infinity. We're referencing this shape here. And for the purpose of this video, we're going to pretend each of these cubes that we can kind of see the wireframe drawing of is 1 inch. Okay, so in the additive video, we added parts to build that up. In our subtractive video, we're going to start off with a 3-inch by 3-inch by 3-inch cube, and then we're going to cut a couple parts out to create this shape here. So let's go to Fusion. I've already got Fusion open. You can see I've got my last shape up on the screen here that says additive. So we're going to do that file management thing. This time I'm going to click down here and I'm going to go to New Design, and I've got a blank screen. Then I'm going to hit the Save button. I want to make sure I'm in my Fusion practice project where I saved that last shape. And then I'm going to call this again shape number 1, and this time we're going to do subtractive. And so shape number 1, subtractive. All right, so we'll set up that file path before we do anything on here. Now I'm going to go to this button right here, and I'm going to create my sketch. Some of you were asking in the last video as you were watching it, does it matter which one of these 3 planes I pick? For the purpose of this shape or any of the shapes we're doing, not really. We can move it around. We can reassign what's the top, front, and right side. So we'll just go ahead and click on one. If you get more into using Fusion 360 and you're going to output things to, say, the CNC Plasma or the CNC router, then we're going to want to pay more attention. But for right now, we'll just get some of these basic shapes down. So we're going to click on the Create a Rectangle. And just like in the last video, I'm going to click once with my cursor. I'm not holding the button down. And then I can use the Tab key to toggle in between these boxes. So I'm going to go 3 by 3. I'll check that. All right. And like we talked about in the last video, if you goofed up one of these measurements, you can always double click. It'll open up a dialog box that'll allow you to change it. All right. If you made a shape and maybe you forgot to dimension one of them. So maybe you set 3 and then you hit enter instead of tab and you're like, oh shoot, I didn't do the dimension at the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this dimension. Maybe yours looks like this. You can grab this tool here. This is the dimension tool. My screen's a little bigger than yours. You might have to come down in the create menu and pick sketch dimension. But then I can just click on lines and I can come back and add dimensions. And again, if it's not exactly 3, you can override it. Whatever you type in that box is the dimension that it'll set. Right. So I'm just clicking on Finish Sketch now to go into 3D mode. And I'm going to extrude this up 3 inches. And so there's my 3 by 3 inch cube. Okay, now this one we're going to do some subtractive modeling. So I'm going to sketch out a few things I want to cut away next. So I'm going to pick this face of my object. Then I'm going to go to my rectangle. I'm going to hover over the upper right-hand corner. It should snap to that upper left-hand corner. And I'll click once, and then I'm going to drag my box down, and I want this box to be 2 inches by 2 inches. I'm going to finish this sketch. Now, this is going to be new for us here. Everything we've done up to this point hopefully felt familiar. This time I'm going to go to extrude, and because I've got lots of different areas on here, lots of different profiles, I've got to pick this square. And then under operation, I'm going to change it to cut. So we're going to hit cut. And then under extent type, I'm going to change it from distance to all. Nothing's happening on my screen right now. So if your screen looks like mine, we're going to hit this flip button. And then it's going to cut away everything that's behind that sketch of the 2 by 2 square we just drew. Right, so this looks good. Again, some of yours might have looked good before you hit flip, but if it doesn't look right, hit flip. If you're hitting that flip and still nothing's happening, double check you've got cut set down here, and then we're going to hit OK. All right, so you can see this shape taking shape, starting to look like our example we're trying to draw. So we're going to create a sketch one more time. This time we want to sketch on this face here. And I know from the dimension drawing, this center section is 1 inch by 1 inch, and it's an inch in from the edge. So we're going to keep those numbers in mind. I'm going to go to the rectangle tool one more time. This time I'm just going to come up top here, and you can see I get an X when my cursor is above the line. We're going to do this anywhere except for where we see that triangle, because that's dead center, or over here where we see that square. So we're just going to find the X to tell us we're on that top line. I'm going to click once to start my rectangle. And I'm going to tell it how big my rectangle is, 1 inch by 1 inch. Right? Now I've given it a size. This time I also need to give this rectangle a location, because you can see it's off center in my drawing. So we're going to go to sketch dimension, and I'm going to click one of the vertical lines on the edge. So it doesn't matter which line. You can see as I hover over them, they turn different colors. This one turns blue because this is our active sketch plane. This one turns more of a bold black because I'm able to select it, but it's on a sketch plane that's in front of our current one. Okay, so I'm just going to go with the blue one. Again, it doesn't matter. Then I'm going to put my cursor over top of one of these vertical lines and turn it blue. Now if I bring my cursor down here, you can go on top of the drawing, you can go off to the side, and I click one more time. It'll open that dialog box. I'm going to type the number 1 in it, and that's going to let me set the location horizontally of this square that I just drew. Okay, I don't need to set the position of it vertically because this top line here is constrained. You can see we got our constraint section here. We're going to get to that in a future video. But the top of that rectangle is constrained to the top of the existing object. Again, everything looks good here, so I'm going to say Finish Sketch. I'm going to go to Extrude, and I'm going to pick this profile, and one more time I'm going to go to Cut. I'm going to change my extent type to All because I want to cut everything away. And this time I didn't have to hit the flip arrow because it knew it was going to cut everything away behind it. So we'll go ahead and click on OK. And there is my shape. Right? Now, hopefully you're still watching this, and hopefully you're going, well, how in the world is Mr. Coleman going to know the difference between my additive shape when he looks at it and my subtractive shape? So down at the bottom, this is called our progress bar, and this actually records all of our different operations that we've done. So you can see I did a sketch, I extruded it, I did a second sketch. This was my cut extrusion. I did a third sketch, and then I did another cut extrusion. Okay, so if you hit this play button, it'll actually play the sequence that you made this shape in. Again, if I go to the additive one and hit the play button, right, you can see it goes in a little different sequence because we were adding things on in this one. And so this is kind of a powerful tool because it helps us look back and see how we built things. It also lets us go back and it gives us the ability to edit things. So if my first sketch here on this one, I wanted to be to a different size, I can go into Edit Sketch and I can open up these dialog boxes and I can change dimensions if I need to. And if I extruded something too tall or too short, I can figure out which extrusion it was. I can right click on my progress bar down here and go to Edit Feature, and it'll allow me to change how tall or how short I made this particular object in this extrusion. Okay? So we will do more with this in future videos. I just wanted to show you that it was there so you could track the difference between these shapes. And so I'm going to hit Escape and get out of sketch mode here. I'm going to go back and just save this one. And once you got this one complete, you've got one more video to watch here where we're going to do kind of a hybrid method.